right, everyone. Thank you for coming. Tonight, we're going to discuss hosting open houses. Sounds pretty basic, right? But there are like a bunch of little steps and little tricks and, ways of getting the word out and, making sure you guys get a good turnout, right? So it goes anywhere from how you list it from the beginning, right, to how you market it. And then what you do in between, right, determines like your turnout, right? And that's what we want. Because what's like one of the most important things like we always have to be doing constantly, whether we're doing this like 2 days or 20 years in the business? What do we always have to keep doing?
Searching for leads.
That's right, generating leads. And we all know open houses, right, is one of like the best ways to generate leads. It was one of the key things when I got involved that really helped me. So right now, like, we're all shopping around for listings, right? We're all looking for listings. John Delgado took them all.
What? No, I'm here.
No, I said you took all our listings.
I did what?
You took all our listings.
Yeah.
No, but it's good. We all want listings, right? We're trying to all focus on getting the listings because we all know the current market is very seller heavy, seller weighted, right? Got tons and tons of buyers and not enough houses. And so, we're all trying to get the listings so we can get the open houses, force those open houses, right? Don't just get rid of them, right? Make sure you force to have one. That's going to be like a really good lead generation source. Okay. So I'm going to just share my screen just to get like a screenshot. So on here, let's go check my screen. All right. Now I just wanted to show this, but we're gonna talk a little bit more. Okay, so you guys get a listing. Okay, goes into the MLS, right? But even before, like, you're gonna get the listing, you're gonna have a plan, right? A plan of attack. So you're gonna put the listing in MLS, but you're gonna already have planned out how you're going to conduct the marketing, right, for this listing. Because that's going to determine when you make it active, right? And then all the events that are going to happen really within that first few days, right? A lot of things happen in those first few days when the listing goes active, right? It's very chaotic, right? A lot of things going on. So you put it in the MLS, you plan for your open house, right? You start to get offers, showings are coming in, right? You're setting up your showing time. So really within those first few days, is key, right, to your listing. So when you first get the listing, right, you're going to probably, what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to have an open house, right? Usually that first weekend, right? So what we want to do is always generate buzz, right? We want to generate buzz. We want to create turnout, right? So we do that through obviously marketing, right? We use social media. You can door knock on neighbors, right? Because neighbors want friends and family in the area to come, right? So you can door knock. You put out your little open house riders, right, on top of your sign, so you get people know you're having an open house as they're driving by, right? And then obviously when you say open house in the MLS, right, it gets syndicated out, right? It goes to the Zillows, it goes to the realtors, and then it goes to a whole bunch of other, like the Trulias and all those little ones that, we don't really hear about too much, right? So people start to see open house, right? Now, you're going to want to, there is like, this is a preference. This is what I do. Not everybody does it. Now, if I make a listing active on a Wednesday, let's say, or a Thursday, right? What would be like, what's the rationale? Like when you make, you see most listings like Wednesday or Thursday. Why would that be, like a Wednesday or a Thursday?
Give people a chance for the weekend to prep themselves.
Right. Like, yeah, like people's attention for the weekend doesn't really start like Monday, right? People's attention, like how they're going to plan out their weekend, starts like Wednesday, and they start to think about, hey, what am I going to go see some houses this weekend, right? So when you make a listing active, then it goes out, it gets syndicated out, right, to all those other websites that I described to you. And also, like any realtors that have auto emails set up, right? That's going to go out to the clients as well. So that's why, and then the clients are planning for the weekend, right? Now my preference is that I always do a delayed showing intentionally. It'll go active, but I do a delayed showing. I fill out a form, right? There's all a specific form you fill out to do that if you're in Garden State, and then in CJMLS, you can indicate it on the listing agreement, right? And I would do that. What would be the purpose of doing a delayed showing until your first open house?
You're building up interest and to form a line outside the house.
Line outside the house. Right. I mean, people are itching to get, what's that, Ash?
I say in today's market, that is correct.
It is absolutely correct. And you know what happens is you get that line around the house and people start taking pictures. They start putting it on Facebook and you look like you're a genius. You're like, wow, this person's a genius. So, I mean, and then when people see a line like that, obviously it creates urgency, right? People start to get panic, like they're going to lose the house, right? So that's organically driving up the price, right? Not that you need it in this market, right? But when I'm talking about like in a healthy, steady market, right? When people start to see a lot like a line out the door, people start to think, oh man, we got to get this place. And it naturally, organically increases the price of the home, right? What they offer on the home. So that's just a little trick that I like to do. I think a lot of people actually do that. And then it also gives you like a couple days, set up the showing time, right? Gives you a little bit of time to do all that too, and or organize yourself somewhat. Does that make sense to everybody? Like the logic? I mean, it's totally up to you guys, but you want to force the open house. You want a bunch of people to come to the open house. It's leads for you, right? It's leads. So that's like your business, right? So anything that you can get to encourage attendance to the open house, I would strongly recommend. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
And this is just an example. I'm sharing my screen. Like, you guys can create little, I did this on Canva. You can do it in Command, create little listen Instagram post, so for marketing purposes, right? So you want to do all this ahead of time too. And then I just want to show you an example. Like, if you can see it, you put like the little open house rider on top. You can see my thing here, with the sign. I have a flag. These are like really nice, and it makes the place like look like, I like how the little flag thing looks. It costs like about $100 actually. It's not that bad if you think about it. And you can market it. You can put your logo on it. It looks nice from the street, so I just wanted to show you guys that picture because there's a lot of, little marketing things with the riders and the flags, just to spruce it up, right? Make it look a little festive and so forth. So the basics for the open house. What are the things you need to bring with you? Well, first of all, let's talk about what do you do the morning of the open house?
Prep the house.
Like you guys are going to go, you're going to have your
prep the house.
Right. Yeah. Put the signs in front of the house. Right. And if your open house is like 1 to 4, like what time do you want to put out your signs?
The night before.
Right. The night before.
I do it right around between 11 p.m. and midnight.
There you go.
Because you're catching people going to church, you're catching people going shopping, and this way they can't miss it. If you put it out a couple hours before, you're losing a lot of foot traffic.
That's right. Yeah. You want to put it out night before, or if you're like a very, very early bird, right? Wake up very, very early in the morning and put out your signs for the reasons John just said. People are driving to church, they're going to get breakfast, taking the family out for breakfast, whatever that is. And they're seeing your signs. So you have to be strategic in where you position the signs, right? Because they're directionals. So I would encourage everyone, to go online and purchase some signs and brand them to yourself. It's also marketing yourself too, right? So, put your names on it, put your cell phone. You have to have the office number on it, for, advertising rules, right? But, and whatever else you want to put on it. So, your logo, maybe, whatever can fit on it, but they're directionals to the home. So make it strategic, put them on busy roads, where people are going to see it, right? And then that way, they'll be directed there from the night before or very, very early in the morning. Again, it's all about turnout, right?
Okay.
So
Now, also, back to here, what I also do, which is very important for me, is I put out between 10 to 15 signs. So when with the other companies I was at, they used to, call me the open house king, because you knew right away, no matter what direction you were driving in the local area, you would find one of the directionals.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you really should put out a bunch of them,
Right. And another good thing that that I do, everybody else has different thoughts, but I always buy the sandwich board open houses, the signs, because they're a lot easier. And I know, Sophia, you had mentioned you brought you're smart, you brought a drill. I never would have thought that. I used to use a pick, a spike with a big hammer. Again, it's very easy to break the signs when you're trying to get them in when the ground is frozen. So just myself, since I'm not strong, I got sandwich boards.
Yeah, the sandwich boards work great, except if it's very, very windy, they tend to fall over. That's the only problem with them. So I was frustrated with those. So yeah, what John was saying, I actually got the ones with the spikes, and I got pretty heavy duty ones, like not the little thin ones, which you can get, but not the thin ones. I got very heavy duty ones. And I bring a drill with me with a drill bit, because when the ground is frozen, it's very hard to put them in. So I would literally drill holes into the dirt and then bang them in. But it is easier with the sandwich boards. And I think the next time I will get sandwich boards as well.
Sophia,
even though they do flip
what are the signs for?
I use Build a Sign.
Okay.
And they have a Keller Williams. I can show you an example. I use Build a Sign, and I use let's see, marketing. They have a Keller Williams
Logo.
I'll put this in the chat.
Okay.
They actually have a Keller Williams branded site. And then look out for like coupons and stuff, because a lot of times they have coupons too. But yeah, you can, they're pretty inexpensive. They're not bad, this site. And then once when you do use this site, when you save a design on here, it gives it a design number, and then call like the actual company, Build a Sign, and they will open up, if you give them that design number, they will open it up for you to customize. So like, for example, if you see here, like this open house sign only has one phone number, but you want to put like the office and your cell phone number, if you call them and say, oh, this is my design number, they'll open it up for you so that you can actually add another phone number to it. I didn't know that the first time I did it, and then I found out later that you could do that. So just a little thought, you guys, when you order signs from here. There's other websites too, but I like this one, and you guys are free, obviously, to shop it around, but this was the easiest for me. Okay. So when do you arrive at the open house? If your open house is at 1, when do you get to the actual open house?
At least 30 minutes before.
Yeah, at least 30 minutes. I'm there like an hour before, taking the stuff out of the car, right? And the reason for that would be, people come early, right? Some people might come early to the open house, and you can take them early. Neighbors are walking around, right? If you see them walking around, say hello, chit chat, right? What are some of the materials that you would bring to an open house? What would you want to bring with you that it's going to be useful for you at an open house?
Flyers, I mean, the information of the house, the cars, the business card.
Right, business cards, yep, business cards, flyers, like MLS, from the MLS, print out a whole bunch of MLS um, sheets, right, client sheets.
The
No,
listing
so it's
sheets.
important. It's important to have your CIS forms there.
CIS forms, yep. If you had seller's disclosure, right, have a copy of the seller's disclosure in case people ask.
Could I interject there?
You don't like
I-
to have it?
No. The reason why I don't do that is so that when they ask for it, you're definitely going to get the correct email. I used to, back in the day, have a copy for everyone to take, but they may be taking it and bring it to their agent. I want them to speak with me and work with me. So that's just my opinion. I don't have the seller's disclosure. If they ask me, is there one? I'll say, yes, give me your information and I will send it to you. So this way you get a really, really good connection there.
Mhm.
So that's why, again, everybody can do what they want to do, but I do not do that anymore.
Mhm.
It also saves me.
Yeah. Let's see, flyers. Louise said flyers, right? I just brought an example of one, right? So like if you had professional photography done, right? And it's like, you really want to like show your flyers, right? This is just an example of like one that I had in my drawer. I should take off the blur so you can see. If I can take it off. There we go. An example, like have like if this is like a bifold, like a really nice one, right? So like pictures, if you had that, so MLS flyers, right? If you had mortgage information, right? I actually created, I use Viba's mortgage data from her website, and I'll show you from Montgomery Mortgage, right? This is Montgomery Mortgage website. And what I do is I created my own flyer using this information. And I thought this was funny. I pulled out an old flyer from like a couple years ago to compare the rates, right? So this was like a little flyer I created, and I pulled out a really old one. So look, it was like 2.8, right?
Wow.
3. Yeah. So I basically take like the information from Montgomery Mortgage website, and I copy it and paste it in here, and copy and paste some of the language from the website, and brand it to yourself, like put your picture, put your logo, right? And this is good to hand out to them too, supplemental information in case they're interested in mortgage, right? And then you're also giving them a contact. I actually bring with me too, I have it here, like the business cards from Montgomery Mortgage and from Montgomery, the title company, Montgomery Hills Title. I have a bunch of them here, but I bring those with me too, if you have a home warranty, if we use, America's Preferred Home Warranty, that's the disclosure that we have our clients always do, right? That you showed them. If you actually go to America's Preferred Home Warranties website, aphw.com, register as a realtor, they will send you for free marketing material that you can hand out. So like, for example, this is for a home buyer benefits flyer that they give you. They'll send you these things in like packs of 25. I have a whole bunch of them. That one I showed you was for a buyer. This one is like for a seller, different one for a seller. They also have like these little, you can get those riders put on there too, on the home. They send you like little, you can put like they have signed riders that you can add if you're going to use if your seller actually purchased one, you can put out on your sign. They also have like these little tent things that you can put out, like, so you can fold them, like these little tent things, put them in the house if they happen to have a home warranty on the home, right? I put these all out at the open house. It just looks like, you're giving them stuff, right? I also bring with me like a bunch of just brochures of vendors that I like. you know, you want to add value to your open house, right? You want to give people value. So giving them, you know, if it's a house that maybe needs a little bit of work or, you know, a paint, like some, you know, those kinds of things, you know, bring flyers for like painters, right? Those kinds of things. You know, if you use a particular inspector, you know, bring like little brochures. And I have like a folder of these that I keep. So if people ask me, like, you know, I have that information available, and it's just you're adding value, right? Okay. So when,
I'm sorry, what was that website?
oh, for the home warranty,
Yes.
aphw.com.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Oh, another very important thing, your name tags. Did you guys get name tags yet? Some of you are new. Please go
No,
get name tags.
and I
No.
was gonna ask you, where do we get those name tags from?
Okay. It used to be called House of Magnets, where I used to get, but now it's called Markful. I'll get that. I think it's markful.com. Very important too, you know, looking professional, wearing your name tag. You also have, I just want to show you, this is the title company website. So print out, you know, print out just the website, just to have a flyer, right? Just print out like a page and show them. It's all adding value that you work with a mortgage company, you work with a title company, right? So they know like you have resources available. You're a one-stop shop, right? And you're adding value, right? Okay, so let's see, markful.com. Okay, it's called Markful now. It used to be House of Magnets. I'll put that in the chat. Yeah, so very important, guys, like get your signs, and you can get them very inexpensively. You don't need fancy signs, and get your name tags, the basics, get your business cards, right? The basics. All right. Now, you guys come up with like a sign-in sheet, right? Everybody's got a different type of, and everybody has a different approach. My approach is when they come in, I never ask them if they have a realtor or not. I don't. I know some people do. But I choose.
Find the television.
I choose not to ask them. I know Ash did a lot of work recently, right, with your QR code, right, the open
Yeah.
house.
Mhm.
I had gone to this tech huddle, which is like a regional technology meeting they have every week, and I had seen this there, and that we had done a Tech Tuesday on this at one point. So this is kind of a neat little thing, how to capture leads as they come in, and then you don't have to worry about, did they write it neatly? Can you read their handwriting, right? That kind of thing. If there's a lot of people at the door, this gives them something to do when they're there. So this is an example of a land. You can create a flyer like this with a QR code that goes to your landing page. Did you guys attend that Tech Tuesday by any chance when we talked about that? Landing pages you can create in Command. And this particular one, you can create it as like a lead form, where when people scan this QR code, it takes them to that lead form. They can put their name in, their email, their phone number, and it goes right into your database with Command. So you don't, you skip this whole entire step of taking the sign-in sheet and then having to input it manually in Command. So this kind of eliminates that whole step. I thought this was a really cool idea.
That is.
But you know what, Sophia, on that, I want to give you an input. Like in this case, we are asking them to scan and enter the information, right?
Mhm.
So the customer may choose to scan but not enter the information. Or when you have those sheets fill out, then they're actually filling it out in front of you. You know what I mean?
Well, you can have both. Have both.
Yeah.
Take both with you. Yeah, because you're gonna have different types of people, right? You're gonna have people who are not tech savvy, and then
Mhm.
you're gonna have people who are tech, who prefer the tech, right? So I suggest you bring both. So this was just an example of, maybe a younger millennial kind of, they would much rather
Right.
do this than sit there and fill out something, right? And then you have, like, you can do a regular registration sheet. This was mine. This was my registration sheet. I customize this. There's a bunch of them here. I actually have here, are you working with a realtor? But I prefer not to ask that. I actually took that out later, but this is, like, I just created my own. So this is like, I would bring both. I'd bring both, and you can create your own as well. And then the intranet, which I showed you guys last time, has some examples too of some sign-in sheets, very simple ones that you can use and you can customize as well on the
I
under.
saw it in the my KW in the open house. I didn't like that form that was there.
They're very basic. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very basic. Yeah, I recommend just creating your own and customizing it with the things that are important to you. Yeah. And eventually I would like Command we can modify it, it's still a work in progress, to be able to customize the landing pages some more. So we can add this information in ourselves too. But I like to capture on these, like what their time frame is. Are they pre-approved? Like, what are they looking for? Because then if they're not interested in this house, at least this starts a conversation. So like when they start filling this out, then I start saying, okay, what are you looking for? What's the feedback on this house? And then you start, and then you'll tell them, okay, well, I'm going to follow up with you. And then as soon as you guys like leave that open house, right? You got to like follow up with all those people that came in, right? So I like I said, I suggest bringing both. Bring this because you might have like my grandmother is 88 years old. She's not going to scan a QR code, right? She'll probably fill this out. So and then I would also have this too. And you can also, another thing is, if you wanted to have a QR code, not necessarily for a sign-in sheet, but you can have a QR code that goes to a landing page with your property pictures and description, right? You can do that. So while people are waiting to come into the home or waiting to be escorted and walk through, if they actually scan it, they can actually go on their phone and look at the property while they're waiting. I think that's another good idea too. Keeps them busy while they're outside. They can scan through the pictures, description. And definitely check out the landing pages in Command, because there's other things on there that may be worthwhile to use. It's just an idea. So while people are waiting, that they're not, they're actually keeping busy and doing something. So, okay. So when they get to the open house, you're going to greet them at the door, right? You're going to look professional. You're going to have your name tag on, right? And then you're going to do what? Take them through, right?
Have them sign in.
Yep, let them sign in, right?
Give them the flyers.
You can actually, if you'd like, I sign this again, it's personal preference. I sign my people in at the end. I sign them in at the end because sometimes people may not give you the right information in the beginning, right? They don't know you, right? They don't know like what type of an agent you are, and you're building, you're meeting them face to face and you're building a relationship with them. So maybe by the end of your tour, they're going to say, you know what, Sophia, she's not that bad, right? She's not that bad. Maybe we'll work with her.
Sophia, on that, I have to make a comment. In today's market, when you have like so many buyers coming in, and you wait for them to be signed at the end, they'll just be out of the door. So the best thing is, when there aren't too many buyers looking at the open houses, that probably would work, because you can kind of almost walk them through, talk them through the whole process. But when you have line out of the door, then the best is just let them sign, take a look, and at least you have that information. Otherwise, they're just out. That's my experience from what I've seen like lately.
Yeah, Ash, I want, if you guys don't mind, I just want to comment on this a little bit, because the whole issue of about building value is something that is, I think it's important in all kinds of lead generation. You know, you have to have a very very specific plan for your value proposition. Like, you know, Sophia was saying, you know, you want to have handouts there.
We lost Raj. He'll come back in. All right. Raj, we lost you. All right. I think what Raj was trying to get at was, you know, having a value proposition, right? Being up from a position of value. So we'll wait for him. He'll come back in and he'll explain it some more. But yeah, I mean, I think what he was probably going to get at was, you know, have a plan. You want to have the way that you're going to conduct the sequence of events, right, is going to be that you're adding value. And my preference is like to generate, I mean, the whole point of an open house is to make a connection with these people coming in, right? So, you know, try to take the time, try to have a system in place so you can, you know, before they leave, you don't want them just like walking out the door. You know, I know it's busy and stuff, you know, maybe people shouldn't, maybe that's why they should be waiting outside, have one or two, you know, couple people coming in at a time.
Well,
you know,
I'm sorry, my connection was bad. I walked into a different room now, but I just want to say that, you know, it's interesting because John is on this call, and when I was trying to recruit John 15 years ago, I saw the way that he did open houses, and I said, my gosh, this guy, he's so good at it. And what I saw with him is that, you know, he had all this energy.
I'm recording this too, John, so don't worry about it.
And we lost him anyway.
Behaving much different, reacting much different to him than they would at my open.
I think he's in the office.
And if I was a buyer, what would impress me, and why would I choose to do business with someone? So, and I started working that way. And, you know, listen, people are very analytical these days. They like to see data. Give them Najar reports. Give them like you know, like Sophia said, give them information about current mortgage trends. You know, put time and effort into it, because, you know, it really is very obvious when somebody is at an open house, has a few bottles of water there, and has, you know, a bunch of flyers, you know, as opposed to somebody that has, you know, like John would have listing information of different houses in the area, you know, different, you know, condos in the same neighborhood. I mean, he would give so much information that the people really would want to do business with them. And so if you want somebody to do business with you, you have to give them a reason. You know, they're not just going to do it because you're with Keller Williams. They're not just going to do it because your name is Raj Singh, you know, or that, you know, you have got, you know, you're wearing a nice dress. No, you have to give them a concrete reason. And so you've got to come up with that systematic process. You know, Sophia just brought up the Najar report for Somerset County. This is a great report. Now, if you want to also have a report that is, you can drill down, like you can have one in Basking Ridge for anybody that has a condo. Like, see in this report, you'll see it's got adult community, townhouse condo, single family. People love to see this information. And I'll tell you, it's simple, it's free. On the upper right-hand corner, where it says New Jersey Association of Realtors, put your picture there. Put your contact information there. Send this information every month. So if you have somebody that walks in for a condo in Basking Ridge, you say, hey, listen, I live in Basking Ridge, you know, and I specialize in condos, right? Or my office is in Montgomery. We have the largest office in Montgomery. Find something in common. What is your value? You know, when I did open houses in South Brunswick, I told them I went to elementary school, I went to high school. If I saw somebody that, if I was doing, in Brunswick Acres, if I was doing an open house in Brunswick Acres, I tell them that I grew up there. I lived in that development for 20 years. So again, you have to give them a reason and be passionate, because let me tell you, open houses are absolutely hands down the best way to get qualified leads. You just have to figure out a way to do it. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on this call, because I really wanted to emphasize the importance of it. You have all these people, and even if you've got 60 people, that's fine. All you need is one out of that, find one person. So instead of trying to, get information from 60 different people, focus on 3 or 4 people, take your time with them. And maybe you want to tag team with somebody else, since there's so many people coming and going. And that's another reason why, whenever we do have meetings, especially like where some of the senior associates are coming, try to get to know them. So when you see an open house, like if you know Linda Dawson and Linda's got a listing, call Linda up and say, hey, Linda, can I do an open house for one of your listings, Because I will, hands down, I'm telling you, this is absolutely the best way of getting leads. I'm sorry, Sophia, I just went out on a little tangent there.
No, you're absolutely right, because this, for me, when I first started, open houses was key for me. It was key. But like we always say, like a lead is just a lead until you work that lead, right? You really still have to work the lead, right? Just because they walked in, right? So like now, and just to pick up a little on Raj said and what Ash was asking, being busy and not being able to, you got to have a system in place. You got to keep yourself, you got to have it organized. You don't want to have 10 people walking through the house, right? So, bring in a couple people at a time, right? And then they leave and you bring in the next one, have it be so that you can have that time with them. This is your time to establish a connection with these people. You have them face to face. How often can you get a lead right in front of you, right? It's not on the phone, right? They're right in front of you. And this is like your opportunity to really make that connection. So I suggest, really just making it so that you bring in a couple people at a time. I know it's like crazy, right? But then it gives you that time with them. Gives you that time like alone that you can make that connection. Does it make sense, Ash? Yeah. I don't want them like coming in and then running out the door, right? You got to really take time.
Right. Could I interject you?
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I have a sign that I tape to the front door or the storm door stating, please be patient. I'm showing the property. Please show them the same respect, whatever, if you want to see the home. I lock the front door because I make sure that the entire party is with me and I'm guiding them. I do not let them use the bathrooms. I don't let them do a lot of things because I don't know what they're doing when they're in there. So, but I also do tell my clients that when you list your home, to please remove all of your prescription drugs, remove your laptops, your jewelry, money, put it someplace. This way you don't have to worry. But I usually don't spend more than 5 to 10 minutes. Raj will say I'm lying because I never shut up. But yeah, you get to know them, you introduce them, you become their friend, you ask them a question. And then you listen to what they have to say. You hold that to what you can relate to. Then you throw it back at them and they just think, you're the greatest thing since, cream cheese. And then after you get all, I have my folks sign in when they first get in, and then I lock the door. So the only thing that I usually get is their name, cell phone, and email address. And then I say to them, I will touch base with you within 24 hours. And a very, very good thing to do is after your open house, which I do 1 to 4, but there's many times where I'm there much later, is I will send out at least an email that night and then follow up, not during the day, in the evening when they're after dinner, because people get very, very upset. And that's when you start building your rapport with them. And I would say I've been very fortunate. I would say I would probably capture 8 out of 10. So even when back in the day when they used to have floor time, a lot of people didn't like to do it. I started out at a different company, which I'm not going to mention, but I would always send out an email a couple times a week saying if anyone has floor time that they cannot make it, you know, I'll take it. And they would say, well, I'll swap. No, I don't want to swap. I want to take. And then when I did that, I was also very good at converting over the phone. And my first 6 months, I did phenomenal. And it's not hard. You just be yourself. You have a smile on your face. You let them think that you know everything and anything about the home, about the development, everything, even though you may not. But it always looks straight in their eyes, because this way they get uncomfortable and they will definitely give you all your, give them the attention. But you take control, you follow up with an email at night, and then the next day you call after dinner, unless you find out they work nights and you call them during the day.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of follow-up, and it's the cheapest marketing there is.
Yep. Definitely take control. And in today's market where you know that you're going to have a ton of people showing up, even consider doing, a Saturday and a Sunday open house. You can even do both. You'll get different crowds on each of those days. Just a suggestion. And you like John saying, keep it controlled. You're in charge of the open house. I put a sign like that out too in front of mine, like stop, go in, put out a sign, and they, keep it controlled as they're coming in and out, right? And also, you want to make sure that they're all following the rules, like what your seller wants, with the booties, right? All those things, right? Very important. And then always keep in mind, in today's world with digital technology, right? There's cameras everywhere, right? Very important that we follow the rules and always feel that, we're being watched, right? So make sure everybody's, following the rules and so forth.
If
All
I
right.
could introduce one more thing,
Mhm.
what I also think is very, very important when you're doing your data entry into the MLS, when it
Mhm.
comes to the area for the licensee,
Mhm.
I mean, people may agree or not agree. I always put down any potential buyer must be accompanied by their agent. If not, the people coming through will be working with me. Because you're not there to do somebody else's job, because you want to get paid for your time. So I always put that in so the agents know. The general public may not know, but I do say, do you have an agent? And if they do, they have to give me their name and number. And if they say, they're blowing steam up your nose, and you know that they're lying. And then some people I have asked to leave my open houses because if they won't cooperate.
I actually think that's a good way to handle it.
Mhm.
Because you actually put it out there. You put it out there, so it's not like a surprise to anybody, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And most of the time when people are first coming through that door, they're not going to be honest with you if they have an agent or not. What the agent etiquette is, right, guys? Like if an agent is unable to show up for an open house, right? They're really supposed to call you, contact you, be professional about it, right? Saying, I have client so-and-so coming. Is this okay? Ahead of time. It's just etiquette, good etiquette. Because, people showing up, it just shows you like how connected are they with that agent, right? They don't even tell you, right, that they have an agent. So, but John's suggestion is great. Yeah, to do it that way. That way it's upfront, disclosed. So,
Sophie,
okay.
can you share the link for this New Jersey Realtor, the information that you have on the screen?
This one, yeah. I'm actually going to give you this one. This takes you here and then you click on the county that you want. And this one is great because it's like a one pager. It's easy to print, easy to print out. And then you can brand it to yourself. Did you get that?
Yeah, this is really an awesome thing. And every month, I can tell you this, Ash, every single month, like if you have a prospect that is buying a house in Montgomery, you should be sending them information from Najjar from Montgomery. Well, I mean, because no agents are doing this. No, not even in our office. I have been preaching this for years, and we still don't have anybody in our office doing it,
It's good. It's a good thing to put on a mailer also.
Yeah.
You guys are going to do like mailers, right? For you guys that have committed to the mailers, right? And you don't have listings of your own, like this is just value added information to put on your mailers.
Yeah. And you can also, when you're at an open house, take a list of all the closings that took place in the last 6 months or the last 3 months in that area, in that township, in that type of property. So if you're in townhouses, if you're doing an open house for a townhouse, print out all the sales that took place in the last 3 months in that township for townhouses for the MLS. Again, this is information that nobody is going to provide. So when somebody walks in, you say, hey, yeah, this is just a sample of the information that I provide to my clients. Hey, here's a $1,000 closing cost coupon that my lender gives to all of my clients. Stuff like that.
Mhm.
You might even want to have a sheet, like a one-page sheet that is almost like a biography, but the purpose of it is, what is your value proposition? And you can even put on the top of the page, why should they do business with John Delgado? And then you say, specializes in condos. If you're doing condos, specialize in condos.
All about adding the value, right? All right, so let's talk about like the follow-up now, right? So now open house is finished, you pack up all your stuff, right? The chaos is it's done, right? Clean up the house a little bit, right? Make sure the house is in in good condition before you leave, right? Nice and neat for the sellers, right? So the first thing, you get home, right? What do? You start organizing all of your clients that walked in the door, right? All the open house attendees, right? You want to just start going down the list. And that evening, you're sending them out an email. Thank you for coming, right? Thank you for coming, and following up with them appropriately, right? Sending them a text message, right? Same thing. Thank you for coming, right? So like we say, like, a lead is a lead, and then you got to work that lead, right? If I was able to make you put them in a category, if you felt like you were able to make a connection with some people, a better connection, right? Prioritize them. You want to get to everybody, but put them, prioritize them, organize yourself, because you want to use your time wisely, right? You can put them in garden state. If they gave you feedback, maybe this wasn't the house for them, and you made a connection with them, put them in in the garden state or whatever MLS it is, like a drip campaign. Get them an auto email, start sending them some listings automatically, right? Go into command, put them on smart plans, neighborhood snapshots, right? So tag, use the command like this, tag them appropriately. What are they looking for? And you can create like smart plans and put them on an email campaign using that. There's so many things to just keep following up.
Sophia, is there a way to send like email blast, like a thank you email blast to all these, like rather than sending one at a time through command, or how would you send it? I mean, like,
Well,
say,
if you were to create, you could create a smart plan
okay.
for open house,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can create it where maybe the first email that goes out is a thank you email. create like a little story. So maybe the first one's a thank you. Maybe the second one would be, just like another follow-up. Like, if you do like, okay, a thank you, right? And then let's say you did, you put them on a neighborhood snapshot, or you put them on you sent them some listings. Let's say, if they were not, gave you feedback, it wasn't the house for them, then maybe the next like smart plan email would be, oh, did you receive my neighborhood snapshot, or did you receive the listings I sent you? You could put them on smart plans like that, and then you don't have to, it's automated that way. You don't have to keep doing it. You can create like a little narrative, a little story using those smart plans.
I gotta look at some of those smart plans then. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm losing track of like sending messages and emailing to customers and follow-ups, like, oh, when did I send this guy an email, or when did I message him last, and I forget, and it's like losing track of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, after a while, it becomes spaghetti. That's
know.
why it's really
Yeah,
Is
he,
Rob
I, he,
in the basement or what? He keeps losing it.
yeah, no, after a while, it's just, it gets confusing. That's
Yeah,
why if you can organize yourself, I'm learning a lot about Command too. I'm going to a lot of these tech meetings, and I'm learning too. It's a really powerful tool. There's so much in Command that we like don't even know.
yeah.
And-
Two things I've learned really good is how to design and campaign. Now I need to learn on these smart plans because
Smart
like I said,
plans and neighborhood snapshots are really, really good.
yeah, maybe we should get some techies to come and help us, guide us through once again on the smart plans, because
We're planning
like I
on
said,
doing.
I'm losing track of it. I
Yeah.
message and I forget, like, ooh, when did I send? And I don't want to be like chasing him, like, oh, I just sent him a mail or message 2 days back and then follow up another. You know what I mean? He'll be like, oh, this guy is really pushy.
Well, I was planning on doing a smart plans one on Tech Tuesday.
Okay.
This
Excellent.
coming, I was going to ask our tech support guys to do something with smart plans, because I think that's like really, really important. See, Ash, once again, you ask and you shall receive.
Thank
Just
you.
like last-
But look, I'm making all the efforts every which way. You see, I learned EDDM postcards from you. I started doing that. Food drive is on. I got the approval, so I just have to wait for the manager to call me and fix up a date. It's probably going to be after Easter. So look, one thing at a time, but yeah, it's getting there.
Yep. And all of these things you're doing is great, and you can, even if you got one out of it, all that work you did, it's well worth the effort, right? And then it'll keep growing, Ash. So
Yeah, and I'm now also campaigning in the Facebook, and I've noticed that when I spend money and do the campaign, like just to give you an example, I think it was last week I spent $14. That's like $2 a day for 7 days. And I got about 235 views and what have you, and have another one going on. I spent $7. That's $1 a day for 7 days. And I got about 130 some odd, views. So now I'm spending that money on Facebook little by little just to get that thing going. And I keep changing, different campaigns on them. I keep adding on them.
now that you mentioned Facebook, before we go, because it's 7, I want to mention there's also really good group pages on Facebook. Other real estate group pages.
Mhm.
You can join like Somerset County Realtor.
Yeah.
The one that's really, really good for open houses, I think it's called NJ Open Houses. There's a group called NJ Open Houses. I found like if I create a post like under your business name in Facebook, right, or whatever, on your Facebook page that you
Right,
use,
right.
right? You start sharing them. If you just share your posts with all these groups that you're members of,
Mhm.
you get so much viewership. And that particular one, NJ Open Houses, is a really, really good one. I used to get a lot of views. And then the local patch news people for like on, the little neighborhood newsletters or people participate in, they go to like a lot of those sites and they pick it up. like, oh, the happenings for the weekend. I had done an open house. I had a listing in the condos, Stratford condos in Bridgewater. And I had done that. And I had people come because they went into like the local Bridgewater patch, they call it, like the news thing that, hey, open house this weekend at this place. And people were coming because they saw it in that little page. And that was all because I shared it on those groups on Facebook. So like join like all those kinds of little groups and then share your posts, you know, it's just to get the message out.
Got it.
It's all about the messaging. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions about open houses? We want to coordinate. So like, you know, like what we were saying earlier, you know, we send out the listings in the office. You know, connect with it, come to the office, you know, whenever we have events, connect with some of these agents that have these listings. You know, they have multiple listings. Sometimes they can't be at open houses, 2 open houses at once, right? They need help. So this is really an ideal opportunity, you know, to shadow, get experience, generate some leads of your own, right? And that's why I just encourage you guys to come to the office with all kinds of, whenever we have events, because like we really learn from our peers, right? Like we can read and we can hear these things, you know, through Zoom and so forth. But, you know, there's something to be said when you interact with your colleagues in the office, right? And make these connections and really just put yourself out there, right? Because that's the only way everybody's gonna learn, right? You guys have any questions before we go about open houses?
I found you in the New Jersey open houses.
You found me? Oh,
It's yeah. Sophia.
oh, you found me in there. That's a good one. That was a really good one. I get a lot of views when I use that one.
I'll join.
Yeah, join that one. That's a really good one. So, well, I'm happy to see a lot of new faces here tonight, I have to say. So I'd love to see you guys in person. So we've got like a bunch of events coming up. So just, you know, take a read of your emails. We send it out regularly. Go to our KW Bellmead page, right, where we post a lot of things that are going on. I really want to see you guys in person, okay? But I appreciate you all coming here this evening. And if there's no other questions, we'll say goodnight.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, Sophia. Have a good night, everyone.
Everybody.
Good night, everyone.
everyone.
Good night, thank you.
All right, good night.